It's early morning, Wednesday, 2 days to Friday, which for me is not very exciting because I worked this Saturday. I slacked last Saturday, was off, but didn't do much in terms of money. So I just made myself some decaf coffee. Man, the coolant is +3. Outside temperature is -4. So now I just have to wait a little bit. What is it? 6:20 already, man. I have to be at work at 6:40 so that I can run to the clock in computer and punch in before 6:45. Probably best to start moving. It'll warm up as I'm driving. Okay, do we have heated seats on? Steering wheel heat on. Yeah, that movie yesterday was interesting. You know, I even watched some pieces today. It's cool to see, you know, picture in picture, even though it's like an old concept, but you can clearly see the back seat, you know, the rear seat. So if there's passengers, you can see what they're doing over there. So yeah, today's Wednesday, which means that at 10 a.m. it'll be 24 hours before my rental starts for the Durango, and so I will get a notification that I have to start the check-in process. That's how it works. So 24 hours before, you get a message on your phone saying that your rental with so-and-so customer starts in 24 hours. Click here to start the check-in process. And what that usually entails is that you want to remind the customer to send the copy of the driver's license with the selfie. Like, they have to hold this driver's license next to their face and take a selfie with the phone, so that you can confirm the license is valid and it's their face on the license. And so that's number one on the check-in process: confirm the customer's driver's license. And after that, you do you photograph inside and outside of the vehicle. It has to be done. You cannot use old photos. It has to be done within 24 hours of the rental contract start. And they tell you which parts, and they just basically every panel, you know, like door bottom, door top, windshield, and basically just go around and photograph, like, you know, left fender, the door, rear door, you know, the trunk hatch, bumpers, wheels, you know, like you just walk around and snap pictures. And then when you're done, you click done, upload. They save them to the app, and then they prompt you for interior pictures. And you take interior pictures, and actually a friend of mine said, don't forget to take a picture of the key, because once he had a customer who lost the key, and you know, it's not cheap to get a second key, right? Because they're all electronic, like packed with electronics. And so he had to pay a bunch of money to the dealer, and the rental company refused to cover that because there was no picture. And so now I always make sure I take a picture, and probably a good idea to take a picture of the engine compartment in case somebody decides to steal this Hemi 5.7. But yeah, so interior the same, like doors, you know, steering wheel, you know, whenever they can effect some damage, you know, let's say the monitor, you know, controls, And so yeah, this will be my number 4 customer number 4. And so far so good. I only had to deal with dirt in the trunk, which I know many people said, you know, what do you expect? But you know, I never did something like that when I was renting a vehicle, you know, just basically, let's say, take shoes that you were just walking in mud and just put them on the carpet in the trunk. Like, why would I do something like that, you know? I would not do that in my car. But a rental means, oh, we are paying them, they're going to clean it up. And so I have a warning, like when they go into my profile and I look at the car, I have a warning that says excessive dirt inside the vehicle may result in extra cleaning fees. And I tried that once with the first guy. Started a complaint, sent a picture of the trunk to the company, and they look at it and they said, no, that's just dirt, that's easy to remove. Okay. And so now yeah, I'm not that bothered with dirt. It's just that what I'm bothered is a total lack of respect for rental equipment. But I see that day and night at my day job where I'm heading over now. Like, people rent a scissor lift, let's say, and they return it. Inside the basket it'll be full of, you know, some cut cables, screws, bolts, you know, some insulation tape, you know. A couple of times I found some tools, and some of them were expensive, so I just gave them to my dispatch. I said in case they, you know, call in or something, but I don't think they did. But anyway, yeah, that's my main object. The main purpose for today is to do this check-in process. Oh yeah, and so you do the driver's license, you confirm the driver's license, then you do the pictures, and then the last 2 things is you record the mileage, like the odometer, and confirm that the tank is full. And that's it. That completes your check-in. And then I text the customer like some 15 minutes before the start. Let's say they're supposed to grab the car at 10, so let's say 9:45 I text them a photo of the location of the key. And that's it. Hopefully they return it 5 days later in one piece. But for now, yeah, we are waiting till April 19th to fix this bad boy over here, the hail damage. And that's why I sold the tires, you know. I researched the topic. Some people say, yeah, all those all-weather tires, they will wear out faster, but I checked on the website, you know, Michelin, they say this tire is designed to handle summer and winter. But that's why it's more expensive, because it's designed better. And so should not be a problem. So plus I didn't want to spend money on the steel rims again, and then pay to, you know, I would have to pay the shop to remount these Michelin tires on the steel rims, right? And then mount the whole season on the aluminum rims. Like, it's a lot of money, you know. And now I need money because I have to pay that deductible, and of course I'm a bit short, and that's why I sold the tires. This one I drove all winter with all season tires, never had an issue. I don't know, people just don't know how to drive, you know. Because this one has all-wheel drive, of course. I always keep it in automatic. You know, basically most of the time I drive with the rear-wheel drive, but when it's slippery, like I can feel like I go into deep snow, and and I can feel how the car applies power to all the wheels. And never had any issues, even in deep snow. So it's all depends on how you drive. And today I'm carrying my own lunch, so I grabbed a can of green peas, 140 calories, some protein there, and then I have 2 slices of nice whole grain bread and 2 slices of cheese. So 2 slices of bread, 2 pieces of cheese, 1 can of green peas, which, you know, you don't have to do anything, they're already ready to eat, and that's 500 calories. Because I scaled myself today and I'm at 177, which is worse than a few days before when it was like 175. So I have to scale back. I have to cut back the fat. On the way to my first delivery, we have a nice well-painted train on the right. Lots of graffiti on the railroad cars. So yeah, my first load is, I'm in a Freightliner, as you might see. My first load is a nice RT boom lift. One of my favorite machines because it's more serious than a scissor lift. And this is Deerfoot Highway 2, Deerfoot Trail, southbound. And the train is actually moving faster than us, which is no surprise since over there's no traffic jams. So the weight is just over 10,000 pounds. So I used 4 separate chains, 4 separate binders, and 1 chain, 1 binder on the basket. There's like a loop or eye underneath, because all attachments have to be secured, right? And there's a basket on the boom. Look at this guy. Like, where are you going? And this is the best lane to be in, because this lane is gonna be screwed up by massive inflow of traffic from the ramp, like that Paddington Trail here and other ramps. And here we're losing the left lane, and so all people from the left lane are going to be trying to jump into that one. And that truck behind me, the tanker truck, probably is thinking he made a mistake because he was behind me and then he decided to go into this lane. Not wise. So second lane from the curb. Yeah, away from this mess, you know. And here this is ridiculous. Like, there's not a single worker anywhere. There has not been a worker since probably December, right? But they still kept all the signs, construction zone, and the speed limit is still the abysmal 80 kilometers an hour. But when workers disappeared in December, I noticed that you don't see cops anymore. Like before, when there were people, cops were enforcing the speed limit, and then they disappeared. But then I think last week I saw a couple, but maybe it was not construction zone related. But basically everybody decided that this is not a construction zone anymore, so people drive like 100, 110, you know. But I'm in a business vehicle, right? So, and my contract says I'm responsible for all the tickets. So I try to stay, you know, below 10 kilometers over. And my rule is, ever from my trucking days, when it's a construction zone, never be in the far left lane, like where everybody's flying, because that's where cops would look. They would look at the fastest lane, like these guys over here. And so I always try to go through the construction zone in the middle lane somewhere, you know. And I remember back then some people were criticizing me for driving in the second lane, like, why are you not in the curb lane? And I was going through the city, let's say somewhere, I don't know, South Carolina, somewhere busy. Like, why would I want to be in the curb lane, you know? Oh, you're slow. Well, the traffic is slow, right? But I don't want to be brake and accelerate every 2 seconds. Like here now we have traffic coming in from the right, which is McKnight Boulevard. So again, the curb lane is going to be all screwed up because people will be jumping in. Now recently I've been noticing these Jeep Rubicon, you know, like such a cool concept, you know. It's a Jeep, basically a cross between a Jeep and a pickup truck, you know, and they look so cool. One of our dispatchers has a Jeep like this one, just a regular Jeep, like a bit ugly looking, but yeah, she has a 4-door like this one, 4-door. And I was telling her about Uber and stuff like that, and she says, no, I don't get good gas economy. I said, what kind of engine you have? She says V6. Yeah, I see, like this one. Nice. But these are expensive, you know, like, but it looks like a little army vehicle, you know. I like that one much better than this one. I never had a Jeep, like a real Jeep like this, but I remember, I think I mentioned this before, back when I was in Moscow, Russia, working as a real estate broker, basically doing office leasing. I was like a middleman between mostly Americans, sometimes Brits that came to Moscow to rent office for their, you know, little branch, Moscow branch. And so I was doing okay, and I met, somehow through that, I met a guy that worked at the US Embassy. I still remember his first name was Stuart. Very nice guy. He was like, I don't know, 28, 30 years old, you know, like probably like, what, 15 years younger than me. A diplomat, you know, in Moscow, Russia, living the dream. And he just graduated from a university, some international relations or something, and they sent him to Moscow because I think he spoke a bit of Russian. Probably learned Russian at the university. And so this guy brought along, he bought a used Jeep Wrangler, except his was a 2-door, you know, like the cheapest one. And I still remember he told me he paid $9,000 US. So this was, I moved to Moscow in '92, right when my dad died, and then I went back for the funeral, and then I came back to Moscow. So I met this guy probably somewhere around 93, 94. So 62, 94, I was 32 years old. So this was, yeah, 1994. He bought that Jeep for $9 grand, and I think it had manual transmission. And so he came to Moscow. I guess it was, you know, imagine, it's probably expensive, right, to move your own vehicle to Moscow, but it was so cool because imagine, it's 90s. Like, very few people had, you know, imported vehicles there. Well, they had some Audis and some Mercedes-Benz, you know, stuff like that, some BMWs, but that Jeep Wrangler was something. So we went for a ride a couple of times, but I still remember it was very rough because, of course, it's a 2-door, so it's very short. And he had a French girlfriend. He had a girlfriend from Quebec, Canada, actually. Yeah, very beautiful lady. And she was complaining, and he was joking that she told him, she said, next time I'm gonna get a boyfriend with a real car. but this guy loved it. This guy was driving around in the Jeep, you know, flying around. Very unusual looking vehicle, of course, you know, especially for those times. And another thing I remember, this Stuart told me, Imagine, I still remember 94, so that was 625, that was 31 years ago, but it was, you know, fun times. Fun times. I have my own business in Moscow. I just moved from Ukraine. I finally started making good money. And so yeah, one fun fact, I remember he told me that they did have some cheap dealers in Moscow, but he said, like, in winter, right, he needs coolant. I mean, not coolant, sorry, windshield washer fluid. And he said he goes to all these, you know, foreign dealers, like, well, he didn't need a Jeep dealer, but I mean, any US or whatever dealer, right, to get the windshield wash. And he said it was super expensive. And so what he started doing was he was buying a Russian vodka. I'm not making this up. Even though vodka it's only 40% alcohol, right? So it can still freeze when it's very cold because 60% is water. But he found it was way cheaper for him to go and buy true story, Russian vodka, and he was pouring Russian vodka into the Jeep. And I said, are you crazy? He says, well, it's cheaper. He says, windshield wash, it's like twice the price, you know? Anyway, the traffic is finally moving. Now we need the Pagan Trail. And again, as I always say, Calgary, there's no roads, it's only trails. So we are on Deerfoot Trail right now, and we need to take an exit at Pagan Trail. Like, I'm surprised I don't see any mountain goats anywhere, you know? Because we are on a trail. We are on a mission. So yeah, Moscow, Russia, back in the day, it was exciting. You know, it's a huge city, and I just moved from that Kirovograd, Ukraine. It was a big change. It was very stressful at first because there were so many people. Like, you know, you go on a subway train, people push you around. There's so many people, they packed like sardines, you know, in a can. There's no personal space. Everybody's touching each other, you know. Nobody says excuse me, just basically, if you need to get it to the door, you say, you getting off? Are you getting off at the next stop? Выходите? Извините, выходите? Well, sometimes they'll say, you know, sorry. Excuse me, are you getting off? If not, get the heck out of my way. Because yeah, at first I was I didn't have a car. I was using subway everywhere, subway and buses. And then eventually, after a couple of years, I was able to afford the Moskvich. My first brand new car made in Russia, Moskvich. It was either $3,000 or $3,500, brand new. I kid you not, US. And then my next one was a Lada 2106, brand new. That one was $6,000 US. Okay, my exit is coming up. And finally, I think the construction is over. Yeah, it's over at 17 Ave exit. I love this truck. You know, even though it's older than the other one, but I took good care of it. Everything is fixed. And I'm super happy that my boss takes my comments seriously, you know? Like when I say something needs to be fixed. Well, of course I don't, if it's something minor, you know, like there's a crack on the windshield, but, you know, I understand these guys are here to make money, but it's something important, like this wheel that was collapsing, like the steering wheel was going into the floor, like holy fuck, you know, like I'm sorry, but that's not acceptable. Like the telescopic mechanism was shot, right? They fixed it. This window was driving me nuts because it was rattling like crazy. It was something was broken inside. They fixed it. The mirrors are still very shaky. They're not supposed to be like that, but I'm already used to that. That one is, I can deal with that. But yeah, if you look in the mirror, like everything is like, I don't remember this on any of my semi trucks, but oh, and yeah, one last thing I forgot. Yeah, the heated mirrors. But summer is almost here, so screw this. They're saying that this March, what we saw the last couple of weeks, we had some slight snow. That was the last snow of the season, so we should be okay. Yeah, that's what I have, right? You see this Jeep, except this is a, oh, Compass, yeah, but it's an older model. Because I can see by the lights. And the wheels are different. And Compass, before, it was a 2.4 liter 4-cylinder. And then they changed to 2-liter turbo. So I think this one had like 160 horsepower minus 200 horsepower, which still feels a bit weak. You know, I wish they would tweak it. Like they have a similar Italian car they brought over and rebranded here. What is it that nobody wants to buy? But that one had the same engine, 2-liter turbo, but the horsepower was like 270, you know. But unfortunately, Chrysler doesn't give you, you know, too many options for upgrades. You know, like I would pay to upgrade the horsepower to, like, if I could, like to 270 horsepower. But I was searching online like upgrades for Jeep Compass, but I didn't see much. There was some BS chips, China-made chips. Oh yeah, you'll get 100 horsepower extra for 30 bucks. Yeah, right. And then you read the comments, everybody says it's just a waste of money. Of course, you know, like you cannot get $100 upgrade, 100 horsepower upgrade for 30 bucks, 40 bucks. And that company I used before, they had these modules that Hypertech, they really worked. I used them on all my previous vehicles, like Ford F-150, Ram, 1500, Mustang, you know, when I had that V6 Mustang, and they worked. But now if you go to their website, hypertech.com, they no longer offer any modules that can increase your performance. They only have something like a speedometer reset, you know, something, let's say you change your wheels and you can you know, update your speedometer so that your speedometer is correct. They stopped making these actual you know, chips that modify your power. I guess it has something to do with emissions and modern electronic you know, engines. And that's just too bad. Otherwise you pay them, like, I forgot, it was like 200 bucks and you get a nice boost in horsepower, you know, maybe not 100 horsepower but like 20, 30, and you can feel it. And so the only two upgrades I did on the Jeep was I changed the mufflers, so now I have a Super 10 Flowmaster in the back, and I installed the K&N air filter. So that's all I did. Okay, here the left lane is always messed up because lots of people are turning left. and they block this lane. So all these guys that want to go that way to the turn lane, but I have to be in the left lane because Waze is saying that I'm turning left in 2.9 clicks on 90th Avenue. So we are in the southeast of Calgary. It's all industrial here. Oh, and I called the guy before. I said, so the building where I'm delivering, like, does it have a name? And he surprised me by saying, there's no building. You'll see just a dirt lot. But it has a number. It already has like a building number on that particular street, you know. So I said, how do I recognize it? He says, oh, you'll see a white van with this contractor company name. Like, as usual, you know, people that rent this are contractors that are working on somebody's property, right? Like in this case, I think it's some kind of a electricians. So it's something, you know, like usually they name their company something electrical, like let's say ABC Electric, or I don't know, Mozambique Electric, you know. So that's what he told me. He says, look for a white van with electric on it. And he says, I'll tell the guy you're coming. I said, yeah, I'll be there around 4. I mean 8, I don't know. I said 4 because it's 8:04. So I'm running 10 minutes behind. All right, where is this 90th Avenue? 1.6 clicks, 1 mile, okay. Okay, so here's the 90th Avenue.
In 100 meters, turn left on 90th Avenue Southeast. Turn left on 90th Avenue Southeast.
We are 2 minutes away from the dirt lot. Nice little Mack pulling a double tankers with the 3, 6, 8 axles. That driver probably is not very happy, because those Macks only come with a 13-liter engine. Now we have a heavy haul K-Whopper with a scissor neck trailer, 3 axles. Yeah, because Alberta, right? So they don't allow 4 axles here. All right, let's go find our dirt lot with a white van with something electric on it.
Turn right on 40th Street Southeast.
Holy moly, the sun is right into my face. I said, I think you'll have to go on a dirt road. Alright, hold on. I see my address. So it's a trucking company. And he said I had to go on a dirt road. Okay. Made Canada free again.
In
but this guy shows that the place is here. But you know, normally people don't rent these lifts for a dirt lot. Like, well, if they're electricians, they might be working on a on some electric poles, or once I delivered a lift like that.
On 92nd Avenue Southeast.
Okay, you're done. Once I delivered a lift like that and to a RV storage place, and they were working on video surveillance. They were installing some video surveillance cameras. Yeah, let this guy enter, because I have no idea. This is yeah, that's the all trucks and visitors, please sign in at office. Private property, dirt lot. Anyway, I have to call the guy, because I don't see that address here. Like the sign pointed this way, but it may be inside here somewhere. But I'll just get out of the way. I think I see the white van behind me. Oh, that's my guy. So another happy customer just unloaded. They asked me for some quick instruction, and the guy phrased it nicely. He says, "Could you help me how to operate this model?" But yeah, he knows how to operate them. So, and they said they're working on the lights, like over there inside this this area. So yeah, they arrived right after me, so it was good timing. So now we're just hiding the chains. Oh, and they were waiting for somebody to open the gate for them. And my dispatch did not give me any pickup orders, but because I'm pretty far, usually I call them before I head back, just to see if something came in, because you know, while I'm driving over here, somebody might have ordered a pickup. So just gonna call my boss, my substitute boss, because my real boss now is in France on a trip for 2 weeks. Because last Friday I said, okay, see you Monday. He says, oh no, you won't see me for the next 2 weeks. So what's going on? Well, I'm flying to Paris for our anniversary with the wife. Nice. And so now I have a lady dispatcher who's also very easy to work with, and that's who I'm gonna call now. And that's our machine over there. So I checked back with the dispatch, and they said, I said, do you have anything? They said, nothing that can go on a deck truck, which is not good, which means that whatever they have, it's for a pickup truck. And that's either some small machine, like, you know, push around lift or something like that, or scaffolding, or can be what else, some ladders. Man, I hate those. You know, we have these 40-foot collapsible ladders. They're huge and they're heavy. or some floor scrubbers, you know, some like light industrial equipment. Floor scrubbers, and that's yesterday I picked up auto scrubber. Not very heavy, but it doesn't want to move. You have to push it. It's just, it's struggle. It's resists you, resisting arrest, you know. Stop resisting, but it doesn't listen, you know. And then the biggest one is like a power washer. We have like a power washer unit on wheels. Man, that one is so heavy because it is a diesel engine. And there's we have a couple of like one weld shop in this area, one welding shop, like basically a manufacturing facility. They rent this power washer all the time. And then of course we have, what else can go on a pickup truck? Some vacuums, you know, where people yeah, also ugly machine. It's like a kind of sucks out bad stuff, let's say when they're replacing some, you know, old interior, you know, like plaster and, you know, asbestos, right? And we have these machines that can suck out all that stuff. Just like a big vacuum on wheels. Or of course, and the worst one is well, not the worst one, but some of them are pretty big, like heaters. You know, like we have 200,000 BTU, and then we have 80,000 BTU. And these heaters, some of them require propane tanks, and those are 100 pounds each.
It says unforgettable moment.
Why are we not talking? I'm guessing it's talking through the radio or something, which I turned off. So yeah, I'm heading back, empty. And I'm close to the ring road. So on the way back I decided I really hate that Deerfoot Trail, Highway 2, because of all those speed limits and construction and lots of traffic coming in from ramps. So instead we're gonna take this Glenmore Trail and go east. No, but why is this thing dead? This thing is on. It's because I connected it. It was not charging properly through the other port, so I had to connect it like this to the radio, and now the radio thinks I'm trying to get audio through the radio. So anyway, we'll just take Glenmore Trail east to the ring road, and that would be a nice leisurely drive north to the airport. Now here I see guys loading, they're loading some, yeah, lumber. Over here on the right there's lumber. And by the way, one thing I noticed, which it was my dream when I was doing flatbed and step deck, you always had to tarp. Oh, now it's talking. So you always had to, oh wait, I think that's my phone, because I have a Waze open there. So you always had to tarp lumber, and I was thinking why they cannot just come up with some kind of a insulation they can do at the factory, because it would be so much easier, you know, for them. And plus truckers' tarps are always dirty, because you know you cannot, like, dirt flies over, right, because it's an open trailer. And so I see that now pretty much all lumber comes in like stacks like that, and it's covered by plastic. And quite often I see people carrying them without any tarps, you know. I think they probably still want them to tarp them just in case, but at least now it's easy, you know, you don't have to tarp. Who was talking? Was it my Waze talking? Saying that there's a speed camera ahead. But this thing is dead in the water, even though the speaker icon is on. But yeah, I couldn't start this phone. I had to call the customer. I said, I apologize, I'm calling from my personal phone because something happened with my service phone. It was dead. Didn't want to charge, and so I had to replug. Like, I replugged the cable from the camera and the tracker into a different socket, and I plugged in the phone into the radio because that's where the dash cam was plugged in, so I know that that one is working. And so finally the phone started charging. But I think it's just getting old. There's something with this because I had to take it out, put back in, like the cable at the bottom. So these are like one of the first iPhones. I don't even know what make, what model is this. It's a very small screen. Now compare mine iMac 16 Max. I mean, what is this? 16 Max Pro with this. It's like twice the size of the screen. Oh, and I have to be in the left lane. Okay, hold on. Because yeah, the entrance ramp to the ring road will be on the left. Maybe I shall stop on the way back and get some fuel, but I'm just like 49%. Just the needle is slightly to the left from the middle. I still have 75% def, because yeah, this one you have to watch your def level. Yeah, it's a nice truck. Nice truck, full auto transmission, right? Like easy for the city driving. So for some reason they put the window controls here. You know, at first I couldn't find it. I was looking somewhere here because normally they're here, but here they only have mirror controls, which don't work anymore, but that's fine. And then here I have my suspension, which I always drop the suspension, and then at the bottom there, right above the fire extinguisher, is my PTO. So I do that, drop the suspension, activate the PTO, increase my RPM somewhat to like 1,000 RPM, and then I can use my remote to operate the hydraulic bed. Go back, tilt, and plus there's a winch, and there's that support in the back, like the wheel lift. But I always use that when I'm loading or unloading from the dock, especially when I have a heavy, big scissor lift. I put that wheel lift on the ground, and that acts as a support. Creates much more stability. And you just have to remember to lift it back. Like yesterday I was loading it was a small scissor lift, but still I put that wheel lift down, I moved my bed to the dock, and I was reminding myself, remember to lift the wheel lift from the ground. And so I did everything, loaded the machine, secured it with chains, moved the bed back towards the cab, and of course I forgot about the wheel lift. Started driving, I hear sound from the back, like hold, but I only went like a couple of meters. So I stopped, restarted my PTO, went back, because for some reason the remote does not work with the wheel lift. Like the wheel lift, you have to go and use the controls on the side of the truck. busy morning today. Lots of trucks, despite all the tariffs. Now look, there's a guy on the left coming with the lumber, I think. And no, it's not lumber. Sorry. What is this? Some kind of a big packs. I don't know what's inside. And this is the ramp to 201. See, still no instructions, it's just radio. The weather is getting better. We were at -4 Celsius, now it's -2, which is still cold, but if you look outside, it doesn't look cold. Sorry, I had to use that visor because it's just crazy bright. And now we're heading north. I see the downtown on my left in the distance. But I don't think I'll have much of scaffolding because I saw one of our guys, he hooked up a pickup truck to a trailer, and they were loading a bunch of scaffolding on that trailer. Probably some big, big order. A truck on the shoulder with some oversized steel parts. K-Whopper. It's funny, he has flags, but he doesn't have the sign oversized load on the front or the back. And that's the Pagan Trail. That's how I came in. I took that exit. Now this guy is driving 90 kilometers an hour, which is not good. Mammoth crane. I hope this guy realizes that he lost his container. No container, hey. Well, he'll know this when he gets to the place where he's supposed to unload. And it's a Mac. Time now is I feel like eating something, but it's still too early. Oh yeah, I brought my lunch today with me. Okay. Otherwise, here I'm passing Country Hills Boulevard, and if you go left, there's a Jerusalem shawarma, like a nice shawarma place, and they open at 10. Sometimes when I come back this way, I just send a message to dispatch, hey, I'm taking my break. Yeah, most of these little lakes are still frozen, covered by snow, as you can see. So So the spring is coming eventually, but it's still a ways off. Is moving a big RT boom, similar to what I delivered, only much bigger. Peterbilt on the left with a triple axle flatbed, I think. The guy in the front is doing 95 kilometers an hour. Okay, now 100. Lots of trucks up ahead of me. Guy lost the second trailer somewhere. Just has a chassis in the back. came back to the yard, parked the Freightliner, went to see the dispatch, and they gave me 2 deliveries with scaffolding, but very small, like both deliveries in the same area pretty much, I think. So now I'm heading over to the first one, and each delivery is just 2 5x5 frames, 2 10-footed decks, and 1 10-foot long brace. So 2 to 1. So that's all I got. I got like 4 frames, 4 decks, 2 braces, no casters, like easy peasy. And recently I discovered a trick to make it easier to climb into the pickup truck with a frame. You know, when you carry a frame, like normally we position the tailgate like halfway between the ground and the bed, but you have to step up each time, right? And so what I do now is I take 10-foot deck and I put it as a ladder, kind of like, right, on a tailgate, and now I can move the tailgate higher. And so instead of stepping up like this, which takes some effort, you know, with this heavy frame, I just created kind of like a walkway, you know, like what they do for,
Turn right onto Harvest Hills Boulevard North.
you know, what they do for what they build in around the house for cripples, sorry, disabled, you know, kind of like that. And of course you have to make sure that it's steady, it's not slippery, but it makes the job of loading and unloading these frames so much easier. So for example, now what I do is I would take out one deck,
Go past this light. Then at the next one, turn right.
like first, right, and then I would lower my tailgate and I would put that deck and create a walkway, and then I go and unload those 2 frames, and then I grab that deck that's on the
At the
tailgate,
light, turn right onto Harvest Hills Boulevard North.
drop it on the ground, and then take the other one, and then take 1 brace, and we're done. I think I'm going this way, yeah? Yeah. So this is nice area over here for DoorDash and Uber Eats. Lots of restaurants here. There's one crazy Chinese restaurant. Once I had a pickup over there. I didn't even know. It's like some, you know, Chinese buffet place. And Chinese people, they love their buffets. And they're not actually cheap, you know. And so I go in there and I have to, she says, wait, you have to wait for the pickup, it's not ready. Would you like some,
2 kilometers, turn left onto Livingston Northeast.
would you like some tea? Yeah, it's over here, that building, what does it say? Ginger beef house. And it's pretty big inside. And so they gave me tea. I still remember, like, free tea, you know. So I was drinking tea while I was waiting for my food. And there's like 100 people inside, and they're all Chinese, you know, talking in Mandarin or whatever. And I look at the menu. I said, can I look at the menu just for myself, so maybe I can return next time myself for a lunch or dinner. But it was expensive. So I don't know where all these Chinese guys get the money to pay for all these buffets, you know. Or the truck finally started warming up. I see the coolant temperature needle moved from 0 because it was sitting outside for a couple of days. Yeah, now we have heat coming in. Cool. I think the radio here stopped working. This is probably our oldest truck. So this is a Ford F350. Then I think after this one I'll take an early lunch, because the phone says I'll arrive at 9:39, 9:40, so it'll take 10 minutes to unload. And then let's say if it's in the same area, 10 minutes to get to the next drop, that's 10. Unload 10:10 and then drive back. I think I would be back like 10:30. Park the truck and take an early lunch. Oh, check this out. Guys on bikes. We have like a group of, I don't know, 20. Oh, it's probably kids. Kids from school. Yeah. Cool. They have some nice, you know, they came up with this. So instead of running, they are biking. Probably a gym class. And the teacher is probably on a scooter because she doesn't want to pedal. Come on guys, faster, faster, you can do it. So now here we are crossing over the ring road 201 again. And the lights are still broken. I don't know if you can see this, like that this section, two left lights don't have that filter above them. You know why? Because they were knocked down by hail last summer and they never bothered to reinstall them. And so they look kind of like naked, you know. Not a filter, but what do you call it? It's kind of like a metal frame on the top to make the light more visible. Kind of like a thing you would use on a camera lens. To protect it from you know, sight, from the light on the side. What it's called? In Russian it's blenda. In English it's called hood, lens hood. So yeah, that's what those guys are missing. They're missing hoods. Alright, I'm 2 kilometers away from my drop. Bite, so what's next? You see, we're coming to a new area, a new construction. What does it say? From mid 200s. I'm guessing it's gonna be
At the stop sign, turn left onto Livingston View Northeast.
that doesn't sound like a house price. That sounds like a condo price. Livingston View. Okay. Stop sign on all sides.
In 700 meters, turn right onto Lucas Close Northwest. In 400 meters, turn right onto Lucas Close Northwest.
And I'm still waiting for my new battery for GoPro. I think it's arriving at the end of March. Because this one is good. I have to probably get rid of the other one, because the other one just only lasts till 50% and then the camera shuts down.
Turn right onto Lucas Close Northwest. Then the destination is on your right.
Lucas Close. Okay, at least we have signs. That's good. That means that this area, yeah, you see it's already built up, but probably there's just one house. Probably it was an empty lot and they decided to build a house on it.
The destination is on your right. Arrived.
Like, they're always wrong, you know. Like, I need 138. I'm just passing 88 and the GPS has arrived. No, I still have. Oh, I see those vans. Those are the guys that ran these scaffolding, so it must be somewhere here. All right, so, and they say deliver to garage, but the garage is closed. Must be this house. Okay, let me go confirm the address and see if I can back onto the driveway and open the garage. Sometimes they just open. So I was right to have suspicions, you know, because the house seemed to be finished and I cannot open the door, which is not a good sign. That means that there's somebody inside. Oh, and they already have a garbage container outside, you know. And so I called the guy's number, my contact, and it says number cannot be completed as dialed. Oh, really? Okay, and I've been
Starting route to 138 Lucas Place Northwest.
and I've been texting this guy,
Head northwest on Lucas
like, you
Place
know, we are
Northwest.
going out
Take
for
the first
delivery
right
or
onto
going
Livingston View Northwest.
or going out for pickup.
Turn right onto Livingston View Northwest. Then
And
take the first right
so maybe-
onto Lucas Way Northwest.
So maybe that number only receives text messages, I don't know. But anyway, so I called the office because their phone number is on my paperwork. Talk to a receptionist and she says, yeah, that guy is in the office here. Let me go ask him.
Turn right onto Lucas Way Northwest.
So basically I asked him to confirm the address. So it turns out the building number is correct. The first word in the street name is correct, but the last word is wrong.
Turn right onto Livingston Boulevard Northwest.
So let's say Livingston can be Livingston Way, Livingston Road, right? Livingston Boulevard. And so they sent me to something called, the last word was, what was it? Close? And it's supposed to be something place. And that's where I'm going now. And now you see, it looks like I'm moving in the right direction because I see more and more unfinished houses. So these poor suckers here live in next door to construction. Oh wow, Beamers, Mercedes, rich people. Yeah, see, over here it's all construction on the left. That feels more like the proper area. Because our customer is a drywall contractor. So which means that usually like the house is not finished inside.
Turn right onto Livingston Boulevard Northwest. Then take the first right onto Lucas Place Northwest.
So the phone number was wrong, the address was wrong, so I'm gonna talk to dispatch about
Turn
this.
right onto Lucas Place Northwest.
So this should be my street.
In 250 meters, the destination is on your left.
Hello, Sergey. Yeah, I already talked to them. Yeah, because that's like a finished house. So I called the number of the contact person. That number does not work anymore. So I called the office and they told me, yeah, it's not Lucas Close, it's Lucas Place.